All right, y'all, welcome. This is the bookmap stream for Wednesday, February 5th, and we've got a rangy day today so far, but still following the algorithm and still defending the POC at 60-50. Bookmap is shaping out some liquidity here, 60-30, 60-50, 60-60, all over the place, with, of course, some big dog levels down at 5,500, 5,600. Yes, you heard me right. 500 points down, which is a shade less than 10% drop on the S&P. Yeah, buddy. Today, though, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Which is back in the old Spanish lessons in high school. We heard actividad a. Listen and repeat. That always reminds me of that for some reason. But here we are, 60-50, little red candles off of the POC. And we are back and forth. Back and forth. 240-minute chart presents doji. Nope, I don't want to delete. I want to leave that. Right here. Good morning, trader. How you doing? Good morning, good morning. So this morning was fantastic with the liquidity. If you noticed early in the morning before that rollover at the bell, they put on the 60-43, rolled the market with a 885 sell side liquidity, brought it back over, stuck on the 60-30 cat right here, and then rolled even down to 60-20. So there's still some propensity for the market to want to draw lower here. That's why we keep getting these aggressive top wicks with the move to 60-60. The reason why the 60-60 liquidity is so important right here is because of where the market's been rejecting the entire week. 60-60, 60-70 has been the main upside resistance, I guess, as opposed to a downside resistance. Upside resistance here the whole week. So that is the line in the sand. 6,000 on SPX, which is about 60-20 on ES, is the downside resistance or downside support. So we're in this little 50 to 60 point block that we're just going to have shenanigans central until we get out of this area. And that's what we're waiting for here. Get out of this range. Did I miss some news? What's going on with the US dollar JPY? Yeah, so that has to do with the fact that the intervention continues on the Asian markets. The repos, the raising of the rates, the treasuries, it's going nuts. Not to mention, obviously, our relations with the tariffs and stuff. Now, the tariff news has been wreaking havoc on a lot of the financials across the market. Globe, I should say, not the market. And the USD JPY is certainly no different. Let's see here. New YouTube video gets released today as we begin our 2025 content production. I'm excited. On the 15-minute chart for NASDAQ, we now have an absolutely disgusting chart. This is 5 candles in a row of nothing but wick. Nothing but wick. On the ES, 5-minute, nothing but bottom wicks. Climbing higher to 60-60. That's an aggressive red move down to 60-40. Immediately bought back up for a 10-point dump and pump. I'll tell you what, speaking of Sig Radler, PSA has some awesome deals right now on some pew-pews and pew-pew food. Still going 60-50 here. NASDAQ's putting on some 21.7, 21.8 up to the upside here. Hero indications 2.1 billion and selling puts. So far now everything is bullish, especially with that little bottom wick there. Is the new video going to be VPA? It is going to be VPA based, yes. We're also going to be rolling out a lot of bookmap specific content for bookmap tools and how to use. There we go, 60.51, moving up to 60.56, and then after that, we'll be targeting 70. Does anyone get permission to enter? You'll have to do the verification on bookmap if you want to get in the server. Here, I'll give you the link to it. If you're having some problems, try this first. It takes about 2 seconds. Right there. I posted it in our Discord server. So kind of you. You're welcome, Dan. Anything for my homies. I wonder when the next time we wake up and we see a limited down market. I wonder when that will be. Do you think within 12, 24 months? That'll be a fun day, at least for traders. Japan's going to have to intervene soon. The 2-year yield is going parabolic. They're going to have to hike. Yeah, so have you seen, I mean, obviously, Michael Gaed's been a lot more active this week because he sees that. And he thinks that his redemption comes this week. I mean, in all fairness, he's been saying that for a while. But, yeah, he's seeing that. JPY is going nuts. So, yeah, am I still playing the upside? I'm personally not in a position. I've taken my one position this morning. Right now, I'm just chilling. I don't like longing up into 60.60 now. So, if we take out 60.60, it'll most likely result into a trend up at least until 60.70. And then after that, upside is pretty unlimited for today's session. But this has been the same theme all week. It's a slow grind up V recovery. Slow grind up V recovery. That's what the algorithms are doing. The current environment, which changes just like the seasons of the year, is buy the dip, slow grind up. Buy the dip, slow grind up. The only way to get away from that is when they tell you to, and the algorithms will tell you when they shift with volume. If you begin to see aggressive sell volume with top wicks into distributive properties, then you know it's shifting into sell the rips. Right now it's buy the dips. I know you're a UT guy, so I want to show you this early 90s T I found. Look at that. Back in the Florida days, baby. It was a great time. Early 90s t-shirt. It's good stuff, man. Are you pondering any black swan hedge swing puts? Not necessarily black swan, but I do have to seriously consider how I'm going to handle my long-term port this year. It's kind of like, Neo. The market has been Neo from the first Matrix, where, the agent's shooting like 15 bullets at him and he's dodging them. That's been the market the past 4 years. But one of these is going to catch him in the upcoming year. And we have so much going on, not to mention what really gets me thinking about it this year as to years prior is the monthly chart. The monthly chart tells us that the price action has changed. We're not relentless bull climb like we have been the past 4 years. Go look at the monthly chart on ES and NASDAQ right now. If you've never looked at the monthly chart, I'd encourage you to go do it. Ride me out. And zoom back out and go back to June. In fact, zoom back out to the 1990s and tell me what has changed over the last 6 and 7 months as opposed to the last 20, 30 years. was that we have a large range consolidation on NASDAQ that is pinning us to the same price we've been at since 7 months. This is not the typical exponential bull trend we've been seeing the past 4 years. If you're going to have the past exponential bull action we've had the past 4 years, you have to have, if you're going to have first in generational bullish action, you have to take what comes with that, which comes when that stops, you have generational consolidation and then generational sell-off. You have to, it has to happen. That's the market cycle. And then, of course, you just on repeat over and over and over and over and over again. And I think that's what we're seeing. So I have to think about the fact that not necessarily a black swan event, because in my opinion that's virtually impossible to time unless you're in the know, which I'm not. So you have to put on protection, which is just standard long-term investing. And that comes in the form of protection swing puts that you can either tranche in and out of a PCS, put debit spreads, or covered calls. Or longing some sort of inverse leveraged product, which I don't like to do. Like longing the short semiconductor chip, which I don't like to do. Or VIX volatility calls, which I also don't like to do. Circuit breaker's 25. And then you throw everything else on the fire this year, and it's going to be a spicy year. So did you mark the morning high and low? This is what we got right here. Morning high and low. Morning range, baby. 60.55. NASDAQ has this liquidity just filled at 600. Coming back up. It's already wild. He's only been in office for 2 weeks. It is, man. And you're Canadian. I always forget that you're Canadian. But, yeah. Deep down, I'm an Americanadian. I love it. I love it. V recovery on the Dow. NVIDIA has been the bullish name of the day today. 2.4 billion calls. We live on the same piece of land with imaginary line. We're all humans. C. I agree. I agree. The first tariff speech was close to limit down. It got close. We got, what, 4.5% down, and then, of course, they bounced it and rocketed. But, yeah. Been stagnant now to 60.50. Still hanging out. No major icebergs. We haven't seen too many major icebergs this week because the participation has been so low, although we did have a nice one earlier this morning. Icebergs are my favorite tool to use here, and I would love to see some come on here for a big move. NASDAQ has 21.5 coming down. A little bit red coming down again. High of the day being rejected. Nice little sell pressure coming in. And down we go. A little bit of red. The hedge wall is still sitting 60.35. They are building down to 6,000. And after that rejection, we'll see what happens here. So, yeah. Dow starting to round back over. ES has got a little liquidity shift to 60.30. Right there. We'll see what they're going to do with that. If this gives out here, we'll watch for volume, and 60.30 will be a nice target to come on down for. I like that liquidity shift. They got a small iceberg here, very, very small, but it's sell side. Anything big like that, and we could try to play down. But they're putting this cat's active. He's coming on 60.30. We still have the 60.24, and then of course the big stuff way on down. Right here, 5,500. Google's getting demolished. Demolished. Tesla's down 2.4. Amazon's down 2.6. Google is down almost 9%. And the market, bottom wicking everything, baby. And it's because NVIDIA is the plunge protection team. NVIDIA's up almost 4%. So the PPT triggered in bottom wick central. Can't let the market dump no matter how far the big names fall. Can't let the indexes fall until they're ready. Top 10 name is down 10% and we're still climbing. It's amazing. Another bottom week on NASDAQ, heading back higher for ES. Heck yeah, man, that looks beautiful. Anyway, nothing's moving. Y'all have questions, let me know. No trades, no movement. Middle of the day is very boring. Doesn't do much. About to buy some more Google. Probably the smart move. Heck yeah, daily deal. What was the price on that thing before it went out? Stuck to 60.50. All the looks of absorption, literally the same exact price action as the past 3 days, which is absorption. Higher, higher, higher. No selling. Every red candle is used for green, and just simply get to gather inventory to go higher. We have liquidity pull up to 60.70, which has been there all week, and it's also the weekly high. So there's no reason to think that we won't go to 60.70. And you cannot even consider a downside position at all unless you have a strong 15-minute top wick with volume, because if you do, you will get punched in the face over and over and over again. So once 60.56 clears, 60.70. Or you get volume with a top wick, and then and only then do you play the downside. We have 2.4 billion in calls, which literally this is the most active week for 0DT calls in history. So there's that in addition to everything else. Nearly every day this week has been billions in 0DT calls. So it's a freight train to deal with. Up and up and up. Microsoft is still dropping. Everything is dropping with exception to a couple of names, including the indices here. Oh, but it's slow. Hong Kong administration expresses strong dissatisfaction with the tariffs. China says we will take all possible action to defend legitimate interests, and that includes the World Trade Organization. Still holding right here. Another red candle, instant bottom wicked. Same concept every day. 60.55 is the main liquidity here. When Globex is better price action than range. Yep. Insta small wicks. Let's see, what do we got for NASDAQ? All signs point to higher prices, at least temporarily. They have this liquidity block at 600. NASDAQ still has 500. No movement. Theta gang for now. My main customer tried that a few years ago. They came back. Yeah. Heck yeah. They always come back. Oh, man. I was hoping for a little more volatility this week, but we started out strong. Of course, we're going to finish up with some volatility with non-farm payroll, which may, what I'm hoping does not happen, is that with the new catalyst kind of in the headlines, which is tariffs and financial policy, I hope that that's not going to put the inflation news and stuff on the back burner. Even though non-farm's kind of been anyway, but. Theta gang today for sure. That big dog Iron Condor guy's eating, that's for sure. The same exact day over and over and over again. I'll be back. Got to deal with the squirrel. Nice. Anything suggesting we'll break over it? In my opinion, we're about to break over it. You can't keep this up every single day without eventually transacting into the next supply. So especially with the liquidity we have here, even if it's only a temporary break higher to 60.70, this price action has absorption written all over it, and every single red candle, no matter how small, is used for inventory for higher prices. It's been that way all week. So now it's slow. It's not something I necessarily want to participate in, but that's the theme here. You can't short any of this, even if you're going into a nice little macro level, until you have volume. Because every single red, no matter how delicious it looks, is instantly bottom to go higher. So either play an iron condor, short call, short puts, or just try a little futures trade up to 60.70 with a stop on it. That's what I would recommend doing. Personally, to me, I'd bounce until Friday. When Mr. Iron Condor shows up, yeah. Plus, the big player that's on the books right now. Spot Gamma talked about it in the write up. Is that there's a major Iron Condor between 60.50 and 6,000. 50-point Iron Condor, and it's been on there. He was on here in the fall. He's back on there this week. What's Friday? Non-farm payroll. Anyone trading oil? Yeah, oil looks great. Oil's actually moving back down under 71 here, coming on down to the 69 range. 69 continues to be a major bounce. We almost got there on Tuesday, and every single time that oil has hit 69, it's bounced. And it's been on a very strong downtrend since January 15th. Down, 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 down. Nearly every day, oil has been red, with the exception of a day or two. And 69 is their overall bounce target. New high of the day for ES, blasting. Nope, I'm sorry, almost. I was looking at the wrong name. Almost. We're 1 point away from it, but almost. Just got out of my oil short. 69 is about a good point for it. Yeah. Ten-year yields are dropping. And the slow grind continues. Some of the most boring trading we've had in a long time. It's like we're addicted to the 2022 volatility. 60-60 target. Just going. Gold just dropped? Yeah. Yep. All right, here it comes. Here it comes. Blasting. The relentless buy day after day. Let's go, baby. Next up, 60-70. Absolutely no volume. 2.7 billion in calls. They are continuing their historic purchase of calls this week. Literally, a week has never touched the amount of 0DT calls that are hitting the tape this week. It's literally, I think it's at this point, it's over 11 billion in 0DTE calls alone this week. Just going. Now the question is, do they repeat the afternoon pattern of dropping it? Probably not this time. Eventually the buyers will win this battle. Blast off. SPY is climbing there. Anytime you think there's a pattern, it's gone. Yeah. Whenever you identify the pattern, it's time to move on from it. Most likely. Man, it's phenomenal how hard this thing continued to grind day after day. 601.27 coming up to 602.30. How do you rationalize that candle with no volume? Well, to me, the buyers, 9.9 times out of 10, the buyers will win a low volume environment. That's why you don't short at all unless you have volume. So you either play the upside or you just don't do nothing. You don't short a low volume environment because the algorithms will always bid the market up. And the reason why you have low volume is because usually the short trade is usually fear induced or activity induced, and it'll cause the market to have a spike in volume. So in a low volume environment, you buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And yeah, you just got to be very patient. $60-60 liquidity right here. Hey, Big Red. Got a hold, MRN? What time is it? About 15 minutes left. So we're outside of my trading time. But I'm looking, hopefully we get some volume into the afternoon. Oh my gosh. You're welcome, Maddie. Good question. Good question. Liquidity is 60-60. Not mistaken, last Wednesday's also kind of meh. Yeah. Usually Wednesdays are pretty dang boring, especially at this time frame. It's yeah. Do I use the DOM at all? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. And of course, Bookmap is a way to visualize the DOM, sure. I think the DOM is a fantastic tool. It's a great morning to work on taxes. It's never a great morning to work on taxes. $60.48 on down. Hey, they're reversing this a little bit. A little bit. Still need volume, still need to get under 60.44. $16.64. It's a decent little red move here. A decent little red move. We'll see if it holds, though. You need volume, which we have a little volume. Not much, little. You got to get under this 60.46. That's your key there. Can we do it? This is the support right here. Most likely will bounce. That's what they've been doing. Wish I had more for y'all, man, but this is about as boring as it gets. 570. We do have some more data today. Very scattered stuff, too. Scattered, smothered, and covered. A lot of Fed speeches. We have Goolsby, etc. Bowman speaks, Jefferson. On down. That was a nice little sweep. That looks like a sweep. We didn't hit the 60-70 resistance. We do have a small uptick in volume there, but still the target 60-46 or nothing. 60-46 or nothing. Otherwise, this is just going to risk coming right on back up. Do we have a Trump tweet? This I think is too tight for a Trump tweet. Let me go look. I don't see anything. Definitely don't want to run out of ammo prior to Friday. Do we have any notable things tomorrow? Tomorrow, we have initial jobless claims at 8:30. That's it. A couple of FOMC speeches, but that's it. And then Friday is the big dog non-farm payroll. I actually hope this continues this slow grinding algorithm today, and then they do it again tomorrow, because you know what that means Friday if we have non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll, out of all the catalysts, CPI, FOMC, all that stuff, non-farm is infamous for reversal, and I love it. It's a reason why it's one of my favorites, because I like playing reversals, because reversal screams liquidity, and when I see liquidity pivots, I jump on it. And non-farm payroll gives them to us in abundance. So I'm excited. I hope they do this crap today and tomorrow, because non-farm payroll will pull up to the buffet and eat the Golden Corral buffet and start shaving off some roast beef. A little bit of red. $60.46. They're attempting to get under it. They have to get under $60.46 to move down to anything lower. Other than that, it's bottom wick inventory. And no changes. Bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick, bottom wick. That's all it is until we get under 60.46. They are putting on some liquidity lower, but you got to get under 46. You have to show from a structural standpoint that you're ready to break through demand. Otherwise, the buyers are too strong. Supply has to overcome demand. You remember the old third grade equations, the greater than equal signs? Yeah, you have to ensure that the greater than sign is pointing toward the sellers in order to combat through demand. Otherwise, it's going to bounce every time. And that's why you look for volume. That 5-minute candle barely closed with a bottom wick hammer. And of course, the next candle is immediately green, which means up and up and up. Right back. Very slow in a cup range. Crazy how lately $3 to $4 moves on SPY seems like nothing. In the manner in which they do it. Definitely. For sure. So we're coming up to the end of the stream. Very, very slow price action, which is Wednesday for you. But we should have a great finish to the end of the week. So we'll be streaming, of course, non-farm on Friday. And looking to see how things go. What I would like to see, which is not based on any technical advice whatsoever, is I want to see this thing grind up all day today. I want to see you do the same exact thing tomorrow. And then Friday we'll have glory. But we'll see how that goes. That is 2 bottom wicks are on the 5-minute. So look for 60150 on SPY and 6060 on ES. Do not short anything unless you have a high volume top wick at 6070 or you finally breach 6046. Otherwise, you will be destroyed. I'm warning you. Do not short this market unless 2 of those conditions are met. Other than that, it's all longs, baby. They're faking out everybody else, but they're not going to fake us out. They're not going to fake us out. Do you think we'll get real numbers from the government? Absolutely not. We're just now starting to cut out the cancer of corruption. I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. If this one hits 60, I would probably say that's a good probability that's time to go 60-70. It's just the same thing on repeat here. So, ooh, the POC just shifted lower too. 15-minute is nothing but wicks. This one obviously is turning into another bottom wick. On SPY, 601.15 or so, I'd look for 602.5. Bottom wick, 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 bottom wick. 4 days in a row now, 3 days in a row. So 60-70 all the way up. NASDAQ usually is NASDAQ a blob? Yeah. So NASDAQ has been pretty terrible at trade today, obviously. I've taken one trade on it. Haven't touched anything for that matter since this morning. But they're also doing the same thing. And their target, ES is 60.46. NASDAQ is 570. We'll call it 570. So 570 is their baseline. But they're about to break higher. 2.8 billion in 0 DTE calls. I mean, they are exponentially pieing into calls the past 3 days. And I think we're about to surpass 12 billion in calls for the week. So, I mean, historical 0 DTE calls with bottom wick. So, if the sellers don't tamp this thing down, and if non-farm payroll does, in fact, become bullish with this amount of calls, we're going to blow through 6,200 like it's not even there. Like this accumulation for, 2 weeks now? If non-farm payroll doesn't tamp this down, this accumulation will lead to an absolute face-ripping blow-off top. And that's what happens when you have weeks of accumulation. I've seen it too many times. Especially with everyone thinking the market's going to go down with tariff talk, and tariff talk was a bunch of nonsense. A bunch of nonsense. They overblew it. That if non-farm payroll doesn't stop it, it's like letting a hungry tiger out of a cage. It's going to take off. So, NVIDIA is bouncing off of their 112 area, which was just right at one of my supports. Long-term target, if it holds this, first is going to be 127. 127 captures, you can look at 150. If 127 rejects or anything under 127 rejects, then 100 is still very much on the table. Go look on the daily chart, a 4-hour chart, and 120. It's absolutely littered with bottom wicks. Nothing but bottom wicks. And we're about to smoke 60-60 and go to 60-70. So, there you go. Anyway, we're past the mark here. Ran a little long. I will see y'all bright and early tomorrow morning. I'm out. See ya.